What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, and this is your Bling Empire episode 2 review. So I'm down here. Hopefully, the sound is a little better. I actually did some testing until I get my microphone. So I just ordered some more equipment. Shout out to everybody who sends cash apps and super chats and things like that, because those go towards things like that I need, amongst other things. But I definitely need to buy a mic, so it's in my Amazon cart. I will be getting it soon. So, you know what I'm saying? This is the Bling Empire episode 2. Hopefully you can hear me well. Let me know, you know, what the sound is sounding like. Okay? All right. So they kind of open in a nightclub, and Kevin is letting us know once again that he is really interested in Kelly. Kevin is cute. Now, I'm not going to lie. Kevin is a cutie pie, because I was looking like, okay, model. But his performative naivete is sending me over. Okay, we'll get into it. He's like, just kiss me already, Kelly. So he really likes Kelly. And so they're excited because they're at this nightclub, and Kane is saying how lovely it is to have friends like Kim Lee, who is the DJ, because you get to go out and party and stuff, and I imagine they really have a good time. Christine and Anna. So Anna is invited over to Christine's house, right? And Christine really wants to get to the bottom of what happened at Anna's party. So she wants to be clear, and she be throwing shade to Anna. She was like, when she set me at the corner in her little backyard tent. It's like, these bitches are crazy. So she was like, so when she walked in, Anna, she was like, we're just going to stay in, girl. We're just going to have a little sit down here. I just want to have a little chit chat with you or whatever. She was like, okay. Anna was like, okay, girl. So Anna was cute. She had on this little blazer and this little pleated skirt, right? And they're opening champagne. And Christine starts questioning Anna's blazer. She was like, is that Dior? And she was like, yeah. She was like, ready to wear? She was like, yes. And what else did she ask her? She kept asking her questions. It was ready to wear. Was it Dior? What season did she ask her? Is that this season? Anna is over it. Anna's like, girl, I don't care whether it's ready to wear, where I got it from. Girl, they probably sent it to me personally. I don't care. She's so over Christine. But that's what Christine is like. That's what Anna's issue with Christine is that you seem pressed about material things. And I have always known this, so I'm not impressed by what's really normal to me. It's really normal to her. Anna thinks that Christine is inviting her over to apologize for wearing that piece of jewelry from Louis Vuitton to her party. And she was like, she knows what she did. So she asked her basically, why did you sit me over there? And Anna's like, in her confessional, I'm not about to fight with her, and I'm not about to answer her. I'm not about to tell her what it is. She knows what it is. I'm not about to fight with this girl. And she was like, well, there's an art to seating arrangements, and I was just trying to figure out why you set me down there. And she was like, yeah, there is an art to it. She was like, but usually there's like a format or a formation that, when you sit, the host typically sits in the middle, and then the people with decreasing importance they flare out and go to the ends. So girl, if you know what it is, then what you see what it was. So what you asking her? You just want her to say it. Anna was like, girl, I'm not about to tell her nothing. And so she was like, I'm just not about to give her the satisfaction. And she was like, oh, and thanks for the gift, but I've heard before that you've given away Cartier. She was like, no, Rolex. Anything else? Come on, I love Anna Shay. Do you hear me? I freaking love Anna Shay. So in her confessional, in that yellow that Christine has on in her confessional, baby, I was like, yes! The way her ponytail's going up and the little flip on the side, I freaking love it. And so she was like, in her confessional, I know, Anna, you are much, 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 much younger than me. Like, honestly, Anna has a child in his 20s, like in his mid-20s. So, yeah, she's the oldest woman in the group, the oldest money, probably not. I'll have to say Dr. Chu, her husband, probably has the oldest money. Christine's husband, Dr. Chu, probably they say they got that dynastic money. Bitch, I was like, yes, ma'am, come on for that royalty. I'm here for all of it. I'm here for all of this mess. Do you hear me? I know you're much, much younger than, I know I'm much, much younger than you, but I know why you did that. I know why you did that. And so then she asked her, have you ever heard of Malario? And she was like, no, I haven't. What's that? She was like, it's the oldest high jewelry house in France. And she was like, no, it's not. Anna was like, no, it's not. It's Boucheron. Now, apparently, Anna gets a lot of her jewelry from Boucheron, and that is, according to Anna, the oldest high jewelry house in Paris. I looked it up. It seems like Malario has been around longer. Now, in terms of when they started, because they were making crowns for royalty. Baby, did you hear when Christine was like, it's funny you sent me all the way at the end because like just earlier this year, I was sitting directly left to Prince Andrew. I love it. I love it. I just love it so much. So she was like, since when? Since how long have they been? How long have they been? So she's, challenging her high jewelry knowledge, right? So, because honey, I was looking it up, and apparently other people are looking up too, because apparently it's a thing. Because when I looked it up on Google, it was like Malario versus Boucheron. So obviously there's some competition there. Anna told her she set her down at the other end of the table because her friend spoke Spanish. She was like, "Don't you speak?" She was like, "Don't you speak Spanish, girl?" She was like, "Yeah, I do." She was like, "Okay, so that's why I set you down." My Spanish best friend. Anna was like, girl, I'm not giving you nothing. So she goes, I know my mom taught me how to be a polite girl and taught me my manners, but Christine is a fucking pain in the ass. But it's so funny because in Anna's confessional, she's very much relaxed. Like I tell you, Anna is like a walking edible, honey. It's just very relaxed, no stress. Anna is just very cool, very calm, very just like, whatever, I'm not about to give this girl nothing. I fucking love Anna Shay. I even follow Anna Shay on Instagram. Do you hear me? And I don't usually follow people on reality shows, but I done followed her and Kane because I like them both. I really like Kane after this episode. Anna and Kevin are at Anna's house. And we see Florent, and we met him in Paris, right? So that's Anna's best friend. So they're sitting down talking to Anna, and these people pull up with this rack of clothes. And Kevin is like, what the hell is going on? Kevin he really likes to cuss. He was like, what the fuck is this? And Anna was like, he was like, are you about to leave? And she was like, no, we're here with you. What's up? Anna has this idea that she wants to set Kelly up with Kevin because she does not like Andrew based on what happened in Paris. And she's basically like, listen, don't you like Kelly, but you don't have no fashion sense. So let's bring in Christian Dior and let's get you some clothes and let's get you looking nice so that when you ask Kelly out or when you take her out, you're presentable. That's her idea. Anna starts changing her clothes. And at this point, I forgot that Bling Empire is on Netflix. But when Anna took her shirt off, she didn't have nothing on underneath. And so it was a full shot of her breast. And I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, oh shit, we're on Netflix. I was like, bitch, we on Netflix. Shout out to Netflix so that we can have cussing and nudity in our reality shows. Shout out to them. So Anna's breasts are on full display and Kevin is like trying to talk to her. But to me, I felt like this. This is what I wrote. I wrote model with the question mark. If you're a model, you're used to seeing people just take their clothes off and change. There's nothing sexual about it, nothing enticing, nothing intimate about it. We're changing clothes and trying on clothes. So to me, I feel like if you're a model, you would be used to that. But maybe because it's not a young model, it's, Anna, and she's probably his mother's age or close to his mother's age. I believe Anna's in her late 50s, I believe. But yeah, so he was like kind of uncomfortable trying to talk about Kelly and things like that. He was like, I really like her a lot. I think she is like, he keeps talking about how goal driven she is and how successful she is. That is what is really, she's smart like that. So he likes her a lot. And she was like, I think Kelly deserves better. And everybody is in agreement that Kelly deserves better. So when he makes a comment about seeing her breast, they're looking at him like, you haven't seen titties before? What's your problem? Like, exactly. That's how I feel. Like, if you happen to see a titty girl, what's the problem? Have you not seen them before? I don't get it. You never seen titties before? Okay. See, so Anna ends up buying Kevin a bunch of clothes, some shoes, and he was looking like kind of nervous at first. And he was like, okay, these are for me or whatever. So she brought him a pair of $1,100 shoes and bought him $5,500 worth of clothes. Shout out to Anna Shea. We head on to Dr. Chu and Christine's house. And we see little baby G swimming. Now, baby G is their baby that they had. They had him after 11 years. You know, the heir to the throne. We already know what's happening. So they're swimming and having a good time. And so Dr. Chu and Christine are having small talk. And so Dr. Chu says it would be nice to have a sister. And Christina's like, girl, a sister for who? She's like, girl, for what? For who? Who do we need a sister for? And she was like, because, we have two embryos. They have two embryos that that are girls apparently. What are their names? Margot and London. I love that they have these names. Like Sherry's children's name are Jador. And we have another one coming soon. We won't introduce him yet because he really hasn't technically been introduced. She doesn't want to make his family upset, basically, is what she's saying. She tried so hard, and she said that they had her because she wasn't giving birth, and it took her so long to get pregnant with a boy that his parents really treated her really mean. They had her sitting at the kiddie table. They had her doing chores around the house in terms of washing dishes and stuff like that. So basically, she was unworthy because she hadn't produced a male heir for their family yet. And because they come from the dynastic era in terms of their lineage, it's important to have a male, right? That is the tradition. And we know in China, there used to be, I don't know if they still do it, but a lot of girls were put up for adoption or even killed because boys were deemed more valuable. You want to have an heir. So that's what she's dealing with here. And she's worried that if she has surrogate, that the parents are going to look down on her even more. Like, you can't even hold the baby. But she really went through a lot during her pregnancy and is really nervous about, first of all, Christine don't want another baby. She just doesn't want another baby. But so she's trying to say, I don't want to go through that again. And being that I can't be the one to carry it, I really don't want to shame your family with surrogacy. And that's what it is. Anna and Kelly are sitting down at Anna's house. And I love the way they come in. It's almost like they're in mid-conversation. I love it. I love the way they produce this show. I really do. So they come in and Anna and Kelly are talking. And she's like, so basically asking her what's up with Kevin. And she was like, I don't know what's up with Kevin. I don't know what's up with him. Kelly is really, she knows that Kevin likes her, but she's not giving him anything. She's really not giving him anything. And so she goes, you don't think that Andrew has competition out here in these streets? And she was like, competition with who? And she was like, well, you haven't lost respect for him when we were in Paris. You didn't lose any respect for him the way he was talking to you like that. And she was like, he apologizes. He does change. And so Anna goes, well, what is your attraction to him? So everything that Kelly is saying sounds like a woman in an abusive relationship. If you've ever been in a relationship that has even been a tad bit abusive, where the person is just controlling and has abandonment issues, the way that Kelly is talking, like, oh, he's a really good guy. He apologizes. Anna asked her, girl, what is the attraction to Andrew? First of all, Andrew is fine as hell. So we're not going to even go past that. His face is aesthetically pleasing. He's a nice looking man. She says, well, we're in therapy. Anna asked her, girl, what's the attraction? She was like, because I've been in a relationship where there was a lot of dishonesty. Remember, she was married to that man in her 20s, and now he's serving 10 years in jail for cybersecurity fraud. So for her, a big thing in relationship is honesty. And she feels that's what she's getting from Andrew, is a person expressing honesty or demonstrating honesty. I don't know. It's ugly, but Anna is not here for it at all. So she goes, we're in therapy. I just wrote, girl, no, this is your boyfriend. Now, I only time I think that you should go in therapy with a boyfriend is if you guys are talking about marriage. If you are, that's your goals. But if you're just, this is your boyfriend and you're in therapy, what are you in therapy for? Like, maybe he could be in individual therapy and y'all can be in individual therapy. That's great. But couples therapy for a boyfriend, not a fiance, not somebody that you are going to be we're deciding we're going to be partners for a length of time, not, we know shit don't last forever, but for a length of time, we are going to be partners and it's going to be longer than 5 years or whatever. I just don't see the point in having couples therapy with a boyfriend. I feel like if you're that at that point with a boyfriend, especially if it's like a relationship a year or a year and a half in and you're already in therapy, no. Kelly, absolutely not. Anna basically tells her, girl, we're putting up with him because we like you. Because nobody really fucks with him. There comes a time when the people around you are only putting up with your man because they care about you. But we basically don't like him. That's what she's basically telling. She goes, and believe me, I know. I've been married 4 times. I've had 4 great marriages and 4 great divorces. I love Anna Shea. And she was like, but there's this side to him that's just so loving and that people don't get to see. The question is, if he's showing people in public, because typically people who are a terrorist in private will typically be Mother Teresa in public, right? Or Gandhi in public. They would typically be the saint and everybody loves them. Everybody doesn't understand why you're in these problems with this person, because in public and around people, they're great. But Andrew has shown his ass in front of people. And he said he didn't know that the girl was on speakerphone. Girl, whatever. You showed your ass. And the fact that you was yelling at her like that, and it was actually crazy, and then you go to the crying mode, girl, we're out. We're not here for that at all. And Kelly's using language that a person in an abusive relationship uses. It's just textbook. I mean, and if you have any experience or ever read a book about abusive relationships, it's textbook what is happening with Kelly and Andrew, the Red Power Ranger. So we're back on Christine and Dr. Chiu. This was a lot of their episode. They got a lot in this episode. They're at the cryo bank and they're looking at their 2 eggs that they have, their frozen embryos that they have. And the doctor tells them, you need to be carrying these babies by the time you're 45 years old. And Christina's looking like, girl, I don't know who you talking to. Who you talking? Christina's like, girl, you're not talking to me. She was like, I'm not carrying nobody's baby. I don't give a damn what dynasty they came from, girl. That's not happening again. We're not doing that again. London and Margot. So they speak to the PTSD of going through that. And Christina's just like, coming in here, it gives me PTSD because I went through so much trying to give this man a male child, and it really brings back a lot for me. And she was getting, emotional about it, and I don't blame her. You could see how hard it was, and then they spoke to that, and I wrote down PTSD, and then later the doctor was like, it's kind of like having PTSD, and I completely agree. So being pregnant is a big deal, right? And she was they basically said she risked her life in her last pregnancy, and Dr. Chiu gets emotional. He said, because we're not about to do anything where your life is at risk again. He was like, I was at a point where I had to choose between mother and child. I was like, oh my God, what would y'all do? What would y'all do if your partner was in a risky childbirth and you had to choose between the child and the mother? I was like, oh my God. I didn't even think. I was just like, can you imagine? What would you do? Because if the mother dies, then you can't produce any more children. I mean, you can go find another wife, but if you choose to allow the baby to die, then she can have another baby, or she may not be able to have another baby. So what do you do? I was like, that's crazy. When he was talking about that, this was a really emotional episode. Okay. I have to say, I did cry a couple of times. I did shed a few tears. She basically she doesn't want surrogacy to bring shame to their family. And I don't know if you know, but Asian folks are really big on shame. Don't bring any shame to your family. That's an absolute no-no. So she's like, I just don't want anybody to look down on me having a baby. I mean, using a surrogate. And she was like, okay. He's like, well, we're going to have to ask our parents. They're going to have to ask. He was like, and I don't care who has anything to say about it. You're not having a baby. You're not carrying a baby again. We're not doing that because I can't deal with that anymore. That's what Dr. Chu was saying. I like Dr. Chu. I like him because he's like really soft spoken, but you can tell he's very assertive. I really like him. I really like him. I liked even how he expressed when he was angry later on in the episode and he got up and walked away. I was like, yes, Dr. Chu. Just don't, because there's certain emotions that, especially Asian men, I mean, it's a cultural thing. They don't let you see it. That's one of the things that I love about this show is that they are allowing you to see what would typically in their culture be shameful. Like Cherie being pregnant and having a baby and not having a ring. Girl, that's a mess. Right? In the culture, that's a mess. In some cultures, that's kind of normal. And that's, okay, let's not talk about that. So, Andrew and Kelly are sitting at their therapist. They're at the therapist's office. I can't tell if that lady is Asian. She looked like she might be. I don't know. I didn't see what her name was. But she tells them to talk about their most recent fight. And he says it was basically off the hinges and he's dealing with abandonment issues. And Kelly has expressed to us that she's even reached out to his mother trying to figure out, like, girl, what happened with your child? And she said the mother doesn't call her back, won't call her back for a long time, and then call her back later and say, girl, I cannot deal with his emotional outbursts. I can't deal with it. So something happened in Andrew's childhood that he is reliving in his relationship here. I thought this therapy session, if people watched it, they might be able to see how, you know how we always say when you get into a relationship, you tend to mimic the behavior that you were either you got away with in childhood or that you didn't get away with, and now you have a chance to express those feelings. It does roll over into your intimate relationships, how you dealt with in your family. So however Andrew acted and his abandonment issues, he is now making Kelly be his mama and be there for him. And now it's creating a codependent relationship because she feels like he has nobody. And since she feels like he has nobody, she stays with him despite his bad behavior. Textbook. I mean, it's literally textbook what's happening with them. He says, I want more in my relationship and I don't want to be like my parents. Well, Andrew, you're going to need individual therapy. And that's just what it is. And she said, so next time we get into an argument, we need some space. I don't need you trying to get me to come back to you and figure it out. You figure it out on your own. You give me some space and then we'll come back together when we have gotten level-headed again. And I think that's great. Great. Kevin and Andrew and Kane go out, which was very, very awkward seeing Andrew there, knowing that Kevin has a crush on Andrew's girlfriend. Girl, I don't know how they're doing it. But Andrew seemed very, very awkward sitting at the table. Apparently him and Kane know each other. He was like, dude, I haven't seen you in a long time. You're always busy. He was like, can we just go ahead and eat? So Kevin finally gets there and he tells them about what happened at Anna's house and how he saw her naked. Yeah, she was full on naked. It was just like really like silly the way he was talking about it. Like they were like, he was like, was she like full on naked? She had no clothes on? He was like, I mean, she was just like, she just didn't have any clothes. I mean, she's buying me clothes. She's getting naked in front of me. Kane goes, it was probably a test. He was like, what? He was like, what? Because I took the clothes. He was like, it was probably a test because he was like, where I'm from and how I was raised, we don't take nothing from nobody. I don't owe anything to anybody. We don't owe nobody nothing. So for her to give you clothes, it might have been a test. And he was like, you think she was testing me? Like, for real? Do you think she was testing me? He was like, I mean, people do that. I've done it before. Andrew is sitting there. He's like odd sitting there. But they start asking Andrew about Kelly, and Andrew is like, yeah, we're good. We're all good, or something like that. And then Kane, I don't know why he mentions that Kelly wants anal sex. And he was like, and Andrew looked like baby. I mean, I think any man would be upset if somebody was talking about his partner and their sex life and what their partner is asking for in the bedroom. And he's sitting there like stabbing his salad with his fork. He was not happy. He was like, dude, that's inappropriate. He let him know. He was like, that's inappropriate. He was like, I feel like we need to do, he was like, so where are you and Kelly at? And he was like, I feel like we're just in this mode where we're doing this 360 thing. And Kevin was like, don't you feel like you need to go 180 and not 360 because that's coming all the way around? Well, it's really like an evolution. And he's trying to explain himself and trying to sound deep. And Kane and Kevin are looking at each other like, honey, he is not smart at all. Like, and you can tell he's not that deep. The crying, you may think he's deep because he's an emotional actor, but he ain't that smart. He was like, well, we have to go back. And also the figure 8, he was just really awkward. I was like, okay, Andrew, you don't know you sitting next to somebody who wants your girlfriend. And he was like, I feel like Andrew is kind of douchey. You are too, Kevin. Like, if we really want to break it down, you are kind of douchey too. But, he was like, you need to work. You need to work on that with Kelly because she says you're not really doing the deal with the anal sex or whatever. And it was like, girl, he was not happy with that. We're back at Dr. Chu. Now, Dr. Chu is sitting there with Baby G. Baby G, I love Baby G looking in the camera. We love when the kids look in the camera. Baby G is sitting there in his high chair, and they're getting ready to make a video to send to the parents to basically, because they so damn scary. Y'all scared. Y'all scared. Y'all afraid to ask your parents if she can have a surrogate for this next set of babies or this one, having another girl. So y'all sending a video. So they're playing like Dr. Chu is talking to Baby G and asking, would it be okay for Christine to have a surrogate? But even Christine was like, honey, a surrogate, I'm gonna have cameras all in her everywhere. I can't be bothered with nothing because I'm gonna need to watch that person all the time. What if they're a drug addict? What if they're this? What if they're that? So anyways, so then we come back to Baby G's photo shoot. He's having a photo shoot and Kevin shows up. So they're taking pictures, throwing money around. He's sitting in his little cars and stuff. It's really cute. I really like this show. So she starts taking pictures, right? Christine does. And Kevin's like, she was like, Kevin, teach me, because you're a model. Teach me what to do. What do I need to say? He was like, think of something sexual. She was like what? He was like, when you think about making babies. And she was like, in a lab with needles. Am I turning you on? I said, come on, Christine, bitch. So she was like basically telling Kevin, I don't want another baby. I don't give a damn if the parents say, yeah, what they say. I don't want another baby. So hopefully they say no to the surrogacy and then I'm out the clear. And he was like, but why would they say that? Like, why would you say, why? And she was like, I just don't want another baby. That's the honest to God truth. It's not whether or not the parents will say yes or no. I just don't want another baby. Since the parents won't allow it, so she's thinking the parents won't allow it. Since they won't allow it, I don't have to say I don't want a baby and we all good. And that's what it is. I'm scared of the parents. I love it. Kevin and Anna. He knocks on the door and Anna looks out the door, out of one of the windows, and she looks at the door. She goes, what are you doing here? She was like, what are you doing here? He was like, I came to see you. She was like, okay. And he was like, well, can I come in? And she was like, no. And she went away from the door. I really thought she wasn't going to come to the door. She opened the door. She was like, I'm just kidding. But she did not let him in. And that's so funny because when people come over your house unannounced, that's one thing that you just don't let them. I mean, I'm funny like that too. I'll stop you at the door because you're here unannounced. I don't know. I find it funny. I thought it was weird that he went over there, but she sits on the, steps with him in front of her front door. And he has this bag with the clothes in it because he's taking the bag and the clothes back because now Kane done put something on his mind like Anna was trying to test you to see if you would take those clothes. So he was like, I don't know if you were, they were given to you or whatever, these clothes that were given to you. And she was like, no, I don't do sponsors. You're going to have to ask Christine for that. I said, come on, shady. Y'all shady. They are so shady. And she was like, no, you're going to have to call Christine for that. He was like, I want to give these back to you. And she was like, are you joking? Like, girl, are you for real? And he was like, yeah, because I don't know if it's a Japanese thing. I don't know if it's a rich culture thing, but I don't know if you're like trying to test me or what. And she was like, why would I test you? She was like really concerned. She was like, why would I test you? And she was like, I don't give a damn what culture it is. It's rude to give gifts back, Kevin. Don't you know that? And he was like, well, my mom would be really disappointed in me if I took something like this expensive from you. And she explains to him, I love the way she explains to him. She was like, listen, let me tell you something. Don't get impressed by clothes. Don't let the car drive you. Don't let the clothes wear you. She was just really giving him just regular advice. But I was like, yeah, it's easy for you to say generational wealth. It's easy for you to say, girl. But she just basically said, don't let any of this stuff in this make believe. It looks fascinating, but it's not. It's really not. So you live your life to the fullest. It's not a dress rehearsal. And this is Anna, seems to be Anna's model. It's not a dress rehearsal. You only get one chance to do it. Do it. Live your life to the fullest. I was like, bitch, that's easy for you to say. She was like, I don't give a damn if it's $1 or $100,000. If I gave it to you, it's a gift. And I'm giving it to you from here because I want to give it to you. So take the clothes, put the shoes back on, take it. He took it and he was happy. He was happy about it. Is that it? That's it for the episode, y'all. The episodes go so fast. It's really good, fast paced. If you guys haven't watched Bling Empire, go watch it. It is a great reality show. Like somebody said in the comments, it's well produced. It seems very authentic. Oh, I haven't finished yet. I feel like I haven't finished. Oh, I haven't finished. Hold on. I knew there was more. Hold on a second. Okay, y'all. I almost forgot. It's some more scenes. Okay, so it's Sherry and Jesse. They have their little daughter named Jador. And Kevin and Kane go over Jesse's house. Now, we find out that Jesse, her fortune, I remember on the last review, I said I didn't know where her fortune came from. Here they mention it. Her fortune comes from her father being the godfather of denim, and then Jesse, his family owns a furniture empire. So like Kane said, jackpot once again. Sherry says that she was a pop star in Japan. She had everything laid out for her, but her mom did not want her to be a pop star. Her, traditional Asian mother wants her to be either a doctor or a lawyer. So her mom passed away from pancreatic cancer, and it's very new. And she's also, and it's funny because Kane mentions in his interview, he was like, Sherry, she has one child, she's pregnant, and she doesn't have a ring. So, that's very important in their tradition. So far, Sherry is very non-traditional. Just having two children, one child, one on the way, and not being married is just going against her traditions. Kane says he wants to offer a last prayer to Sherry's mom because, he got to see her in the hospital. He has really been there for Sherry. Sherry says that, Kane has really been there for her since her mother was sick and just been very supportive. And so they do a ritual and an offer to Buddha. Kane explains, as you're chanting, Buddhist tradition is that the soul is waiting and soul is laying there or waiting there. And as you chant, it ushers the soul on to the next phase. Beautiful. This is one thing that I love about Bling Empire is because not only are we talking about extreme wealth, but we're also talking about Asian tradition, and we're also talking about their spiritual practices as well. And we see that throughout the season, which I am here for. I'm here for it. They do a chant, they light a candle, and they're crying, and Kane breaks down. It was a very touching moment. But Kane was like, I just wanted to help her. I feel like that's the one thing I like about Kane. He's messy, but he is very traditional. Like, he's very mannerable. I don't know if you noticed, he's very mannerable. Even in the last episode, when they were sitting there with Jamie and Kelly, and Kevin was about to make food and about to serve himself, and he was like, no, you need to serve her first. Like, what are you doing? Like, like, what's up? You don't know, you don't have manners? But Kane was very emotional. He starts crying. And he basically says, I just wanted to be there for her. I was just in the mode of how can I help you and how can I help you get through this with your mother. And, Sherry says, I thank you for that. You guys have really taught me what it is to have true friendship. I was really close to my mother, and you guys being there for me allowed me to accept that I have friends who want to be there for me. I thought it was so beautiful. And he tells her, thank you. This is the shit I'll talk about. He was like, thank you for allowing me to be there for you and to help you during this difficult time. And she just says, I really learned, that it's so important to have good friends. And he was like, we're not concerned. Your mom is watching over you. You're doing a great job. It was just very supportive. It was such an endearing moment that, honey, I was crying. Especially when Kane broke down, because he was really, you could tell he was genuine and like, I know your husband is a billionaire. I know you got a lot of money. I just wanted to help you. And that's like, having friends like that is just really, really important. I really like this friend group. I really love it. So Christina's at another photo shoot. What other photo shoot is there? I'm trying to think. She's always doing a damn photo shoot. So he says the mom and dad responded and said, okay. And she was like, okay, well, we need to get on the same page. So Dr. Chiu's parents have said, okay. Christina's in the middle of getting her hair done. She was like, can I have some alcohol, please? She was like, I need a drink. So Christine was like, we need to get on the same page with this whole baby thing. He was like, okay, what's up? So they're sitting at the table. She was like, it just doesn't sit well with me. She was like, what do you want? Why do you want to have another baby? He was like, well, because I want another baby. I think it would be great to have a little girl running around here. I really do. And she was like, I don't want to have another baby. I'm not with it. I think it, and he was like, I think it has to be deeper than you just not wanting one. Well, Dr. Chiu, it has to be deeper than just you wanting one. Hello? Like, come on. Like, let's compromise here. Christine was like, I don't want another baby. And she was like, well, I'm just going to vote. My vote is no on having another baby. And he was like, well, you're not the only one who gets to vote. And my vote is the opposite. And he slammed down his paper on the thing and he walked away. Hello? I said, come on, Dr. Chiu, you better be mad. And so she's in her confessional and she's like, we've been through a lot and this is just so much to this story. And so the producer goes, what else? What else is there to the story? Is there something else? And she starts crying. So we'll find out in the next episode. For those who have watched the entire season, please do not spoil what is happening with Dr. Chiu and Christine. We already know what's happening, y'all. So do not spoil it. We talk about it on episode 3 till we talk about it. All right, take care of each other. Protect your energy. I hope you enjoyed the show. I enjoyed it so much. Shout out to the producers of Bling Empire and the cast of Bling Empire. Perfect. Peace.